The sport of lacrosse holds three distinctions. It's the oldest sport in North America, it's the fastest growing sport in the United States, and it's the fastest game on 2 feet. Like me, many of you watch football. Certainly you have seen the increased concern of concussions and its long-term effects. I played football in high school, and I'm a Badger and Packer fan. Now I live in Maryland, a state with long and rich history of lacrosse. I believe that lacrosse will be the next major sport in America. You may not be familiar with lacrosse, other than it's a city in western Wisconsin. So I'll first tell you about the sport, then show you signs that football may be on the decline, and finally show that lacrosse's popularity is growing. To begin with, games of different varieties with wooden sticks were played all over North America prior to European settlement. The particular version adopted by Europeans was that played by the Iroquois in northeastern United States and Ontario. The book Lacrosse: History of the Game by Donald Fisher, written in 2002, gives a great overview of how lacrosse evolved from the Native American game to the current version. Lacrosse is a fast-moving physical sport for boys and a non-contact sport for girls. Sides are made up of 10 players, 3 attackers, 3 midfielders, 2 defensemen, and a goalie. They use sticks with pockets known as crosses to move the ball. Boys wear helmets, small shoulder pads, arm protection, and gloves similar to hockey. Girls wear eye protection but no pads and no helmet. It has been called the fastest moving game on 2 feet for years because of the movement of the ball. It's a fast passing and a fast shooting game. While a soccer match might end in a 0-0 tie, lacrosse's scores typically are in the teens. Kevin Kraft points out in his April 13, 2012 article for the Atlantic Monthly entitled, "Will Lacrosse Ever Go Mainstream?" It may be only a matter of time before slower, more deliberate games like baseball and football seem antiquated, and fans will gravitate towards more active sports like basketball, soccer, and lacrosse. Now here's where lacrosse may have an advantage because, similar to football and hockey, it is a contact sport. And we know that there's more passion for contact sports because they provide us with more thrills and excitement. But contact sports generally mean more injuries than other sports, and concussions and repeated injuries to the head have been a growing concern. Much is still not known about the exact mechanisms to cause head injuries. And after an injury, when is it good to go back to practice? More and more, we hear about professional football players having early dementia. And after death, autopsies have shown a number of cases of what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE. According to the book League of Denial by Mark and Steve Fainaru, published in 2013, Dr. Ann McKee of Boston University has studied 54 brains harvested from deceased NFL players, and all but 2 had CTE. According to Noble and Hesdorfer's November 17, 2013 report on sports-related concussions, football has the highest rate of concussions, with football players suffering 55% of all college sports concussions. And in the same report, 17% of all high school football injuries are concussions. Participation in football is beginning to fall, while lacrosse continues to grow. The nation's largest football program, Pop Warner, saw participation drop 9.5% between 2010 and 2012, according to ESPN Outside the Lines report made on November 14, 2013, by the same authors of League of Denial. And concerns about head injuries was cited as the #1 reason. From a current participation survey in 2013 by U.S. Lacrosse, participation is up 158% from 2008 to 2012 in the United States. Youth participation increased 53% for boys and 47% for girls over the past 5 years. The number of high schools sponsoring lacrosse teams grew 96% for boys and an astounding 127% for girls over the past 10 years. There currently are 86 high school boys teams in Minnesota and 40 high school teams in Wisconsin in 2 divisions, although it is not sanctioned by the WIAA. Colleges have added 99 new programs the past 2 years and 10,000 new participants over the past 10 years. For the first time this spring, lacrosse will be part of the Big Ten in both men and women. At the pro level, there's an indoor league called the National Lacrosse League, which features the Minnesota Swarm. And there's an outdoor league known as the Major Lacrosse League, which features 9 teams, and games are scheduled to be televised on ESPN and CBS Sports Network. So in conclusion, today I explained the sport of lacrosse. While football is king, I examined that there is compelling reason why participation in the sport has begun to fall. I showed that lacrosse has grown in participation at the youth, high school, and college levels. For these reasons, I believe lacrosse could very well be the next big sport in America. There's no disputing that lacrosse is the fastest growing sport in America, and there's little question that the sport is fun to play and fun to watch. So this spring, look locally for games in your area at the youth, the high school, the college, and the pro levels, and check out the fastest game on 2 feet.